Here's an overview on our Ember holsters for the Hellcat and Hellcat Pro, along with some details on the different TLR Sub versions that can be used, should be used with them. So, basic anatomy of the TLR7 Sub. We have a rail clamp on each side, and then you also have a key. The key determines the location of the light in relation to the trigger guard and the dust cover, and the clamp has to be compatible with the particular rail features molded into the frame on the gun. So there is a Springfield Hellcat branded version of the TLR7. It has Springfield Hellcat rail clamps, and it comes standard with the number 6 key. The rail on the Springfield Hellcat and the Hellcat Pro is not a Picatinny rail. The Picatinny rail has specs both for shoulder width, cross slot spacing, and cross slot dimension. And while the 1913 Picatinny rail spec for overall shoulder width on the rail is pretty close on the Hellcat and Hellcat Pro, the slot size is different. So if you have, because the Picatinny spec is a 0.205 inch wide slot across the shoulder of the rail. The Springfield Hellcat and Hellcat Pro have a 0.15. So this slot, if you measure it this way, is narrower than an actual Picatinny spec slot. But Streamlight has a number 5 key and a number 6 key that are both in the 0.140 to 0.145 range, and either of those will fit in the slots on these Springfield Hellcat and Hellcat Pro guns. For our Ember holster, we designed both the Hellcat and Hellcat Pro versions to be used with the Springfield Hellcat marked rail clamps and the number 6 key. Now, you can install the number 5 key and put this light with the Springfield Hellcat clamps on a Hellcat Pro, and it will go into the Hellcat Ember holster. It will actually sit a little bit deeper because you've moved the light a little closer to the trigger guard by swapping out the rail key. It's not unsafe if you prefer the controls position with the number 5 key over the number 6 key on the Hellcat Pro. You can use that in the Hellcat Pro Ember and it will still function properly. You may get a little more interference with your finger at this edge when you form your master grip because your gun will be seated a little further into the holster. However, the number 5 key is not compatible with the original Springfield Hellcat. The difference in slot position between the number 5 and the number 6 key, the number 6 key will work here. The number 5 key will not work because it would put the light too close. It interferes with the trigger guard and you can't actually mount it on the rail. So if you've got a Hellcat and you want to put it in an Ember, you need the Hellcat labeled Ember, you need the Springfield Armory Hellcat rail clamps, and the number 6 key. If you're using a Hellcat Pro, you need the Springfield Armory TLR branded rail clamps on your TLR7 Sub, and we recommend the number 6 key. That's the one we designed it for. You can use the number 5 key in a pinch, but it will seat the gun a little deeper in the holster. Now, the 1913 on the Hellcat Pro. Yes, you can put the 1913 rail clamps, TLR7 Sub, and the number 5 or number 6 key on a Hellcat Pro. All of those will attach. They will clamp properly, they will hold securely, but they will not work in the Ember holster because the difference in the position of the rail clamps, right, my white shirt behind it, that difference right there, it's hard to see. That difference in height, there to there, is what changes how the holster interacts with the light. The retention point on the holster is this molded in angled surface that locks onto the back edge of the shoulder of the light right there. If you move the shoulder of the light by switching to the 1913 rail clamps, the gun will go in the holster, but it will not retain the way we intend because the holster doesn't make contact with the shoulder at the appropriate spot. So you will get this. Goes in, but there is an unacceptable amount of play there where the rail clamps are just loose before they make contact with the retention point. So That's the overview of Springfield Hellcat and Hellcat Pro light options for the Ember holster. We recommend for both guns, for both versions of the Ember, the Springfield Hellcat rail clamps and the number 6 key. Thanks.